American Revolution, what you need to know. I believe this is probably going to be like a summary of the American Revolution. You know, like we said before, we're here to learn, man. Learn everything America related. So yeah, this is the point of the video. But yeah, Mike, do you know anything about the American Revolution?
Nah, I'm not a lot still. What about you?
Yeah, I've got you know a little bit of knowledge. I know it was like a period of unrest, a period where the American citizens decided to end British rule over America. I think one of the reasons why is due to the high taxes, because apparently the British government wanted the American citizens to pay taxes, and they weren't willing it. They were like, "Yeah, we've had enough. We want our country," So I think that's my knowledge, of the American Revolution. I'm sure, it's a lot more than that. It's there's far more information than I'm suggesting right now. But yeah, make sure to smash this like button, guys. Subscribe. We're closing in on 4,000 subs. It's absolutely incredible the amount of love and support you guys have been showing the channel, man. It means a lot to us. So I'm continuing to do that. Enough talking. Let's go.
Refers to a seismic moment in history.
Wait, let me take that all the way back.
This video is brought to you by Captivating History. The American Revolution refers to a seismic moment in history. First, because of the fact it led to the formation of the United States, a country whose economic and military power has been felt across the world. The Massachusetts Minutemen, who fired the shots heard around the world at Lexington and Concord, likely had little idea of the eventual influence that their rebellion against British taxation would have. Secondly, the causes that the revolution came to represent, liberty, representation, freedom, and independence, laid the foundations for social democracies for the following centuries. Famous figures such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams could not have foreseen the almost holy reverence with which their words have been treated since. While the effects of the revolution may not have been immediately revolutionary, it's clear that the 13 colonies' struggle for independence from British rule has had a significant and lasting impact. As with any revolutionary moment, it's vital to take a step back and examine the causes and progression leading up to the eventual British surrender in 1783. Most studies of the American Revolution trace its beginnings to the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, a conflict with the French over territory that ended with a British victory. The 7 Years' War solidified Britain's stance as the most dominant European country in the world, as it gained vast tracts of land in the process.
However, one thing that blows my mind, Mike, is the fact that the UK is so tiny, bro, and yet it was able to conquer like half of the world or so. Apparently, at its height, the British Empire was the biggest empire in history, bro.
We need to do a video on why they were so big and how it explained.
Yeah, and I think that they had to colonize countries, but because for the most part, the UK is not the most resourceful country. The UK don't have many natural resources, so it was a way to I gotta keep it real as a Brit. It was a way to take resources from other countries. I believe that was one of the main reasons why the Brits colonized so many countries, is to take advantage of the resources.
The whole concept of colonizing another country to me is actually unbelievable, bro. Like, you could just go over there and try and take over, and that's what Putin's trying to do with Ukraine. Imagine in 2025, you're actually trying to colonize another country. It's a disgrace and it's an abomination. And I hope Ukraine can play this role and kick Putin out of presidency.
The thing is, Putin is fearful of Ukraine. Especially with the Western influence. He thinks if the West, gets involved with Ukraine, that's a massive threat. That's a massive threat to to Russia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Process. However, as Britain tried to increase control of its American colonies in a variety of ways, colonists began rebelling. The expensive conflict had led to new and unpopular taxes. The British government attempted to raise revenue by taxing the colonies, first with the Stamp Act of 1765, and then with the Townshend Acts of 1767 and the Tea Act of 1773. This led to increasing resentment. The colonists felt that these taxes were unfair since they were being taxed without any representation in Parliament. The growing protests posed a simple question. Why didn't the colonists have the same rights as British subjects? Two events in Boston in the early 1770s fanned the flames of resentment further. First, in 1770, colonial resistance was met with violence at the Boston Massacre, in which British soldiers killed 5 men after opening fire at a protesting mob.
Wow.
Second, in 1773, in response to the Tea Act, a group of Bostonians boarded British ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor.
Oh, wow.
These acts were catalysts for more resentment, as a vicious circle of retaliatory punitive measures from the British government only served to further enrage the colonists. Massachusetts and the New England area was now seen as a hotbed of rebellion, and the stage was set for an escalation into war. A group of delegates decided to meet in September 1774 to see what could be done about the situation. The First Continental Congress included the likes of George Washington from Virginia, as well as John and Samuel Adams from Massachusetts. They did not demand independence at this first meeting, but they did issue a declaration of the rights due to every citizen, including life, liberty, property, assembly, and trial by jury, a forerunner for what would come later. They were frustrated by taxation, but also at the continued British military presence in the colonies, an issue that would rear its head very soon. They agreed to meet for a second Congress. In the convening time between Congresses, war broke out. On April 18, 1775, British soldiers marched to Concord to seize an arms cache that had been stockpiled by colonial militiamen. The two sides clashed at the Battle of Lexington and Concord, marking the first formal battle of the Revolutionary War. It was from this night that we also get one of the great tales and heroic figures of the Revolution, that of Paul Revere and the other men riding through the night to sound the alarm and prepare the Massachusetts militia. By the time the Second Congress met in the summer of 1775, with new additions such as Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, anti-British views were entrenched. They voted to raise a continental army, with Washington as commander-in-chief. Thus began a series of battles throughout the fall and winter, starting with the Battle of Bunker Hill in Boston. Though it was a victory for the British, these early skirmishes actually supplied encouragement for the lowly colonial forces, giving them inspiration for the fight ahead. With more trouble brewing, as early battles didn't bring any conclusive victories on either side, the colonists cemented their position on July 4th, 1776, when they...
And this is how you get independence. You need a bunch of brave people, man.
And they're just going to keep fighting and fighting until they win the war.
Yeah.
Never backing down.
Never backing down. You need a bunch of brave people that are willing to say enough is enough. Let's stand up. Let's fight for our rights. Even if the odds is against us, we're brave enough. And I still see it till this day. Like I said in our Star Spangled Banner video, I said Americans are very brave people, very courageous. They are willing to put their lives on the line for their country, bro.
Very patriotic.
Very patriotic. Yeah, that's a perfect word. Very patriotic.
July 4th, 1776, when they voted to adopt the Declaration of Independence. This momentous document was the first time a nation's people formally asserted their right to choose their own government. It was drafted by a 5-man committee, but the primary author was Thomas Jefferson. His famous words in the
I've heard of
preamble
Thomas
read,
Jefferson.
Yeah, I believe he was an American president. I think so, yeah. George Washington, I think, was the first president. But I believe, I could be wrong, by the way, but I believe Thomas Jefferson also was the president. Yeah, I think so. These were the catalysts in the revolution.
And the preamble read, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
I love that that saying right there, that all men are created equal, right?
Facts.
Yeah, we're created equal, but certain individuals like to think that they're more superior than others.
Just because they have better opportunities and more,
Yeah.
source of income.
Rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Herein lies the essence of the lasting impact of the American Revolution. These words, influenced by Enlightenment ideas, were a far cry from the European model of absolute monarchy. Though, of course, we know that this statement, in fact, referred to a small fraction of the population of the colonies. Women, men without property, and slaves were all not considered to share these inalienable rights. Nevertheless, this was the revolutionary beginning of what would be a long, imperfect process toward the democratic republic we know today. As the colonists were declaring independence, the British were sending a huge fleet with 34,000 soldiers across the Atlantic to crush the rebellion. After this point, the Revolutionary War settled into a pattern of wins, losses, and stalemates for the next several years. Military history enthusiasts can enjoy the tales of Washington retreating across the Delaware River before launching a surprise attack on Christmas night in the early stages of the war.
Christmas night is crazy.
1777-78 at Saratoga. The American victory at Saratoga was crucial as it paved the way for France, sensing British weakness, to enter the war on the colonist side.
Oh, wow.
Would have been a civil war.
Well, France entered the war? Really? I didn't know that, but I swear down, I did not know that. Let me take that back and, and listen again, because really? France was part of the revolution against British rule? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Way for France, sensing British weakness, was crucial as it paved the way for France, sensing British weakness, to enter the war on the colonist side.
Really?
What had been a civil war now became an international conflict.
Oh, wow.
With the help of the training provided by a professional army, notably from the French aristocrat Marquis de Lafayette, Washington's forces rallied in the north. In the south, the colonists suffered many setbacks, with the famous betrayal of Benedict Arnold's defection to the British being the most famous of several other mutinies in the Continental Army. The British occupied Georgia by early 1779 and captured Charleston, South Carolina in May 1780 under General Cornwallis. However, a change of leadership in the American ranks led to Nathaniel Greene coming to the fore. His forces managed to push the British back to the Yorktown Peninsula.
Wow.
With Washington also converging on the British, they were trapped and forced to surrender. Though contemporaries didn't necessarily see it that way, this surrender effectively marked the end of the Revolutionary War, with no further decisive action taking place before the British signed the Treaty of Paris in 1783. In signing the Treaty of Paris, Britain formally recognized the independence of the United States, and the colonists were free to go about building their free and independent country. We know that this
was the beginning, of America, man. That's crazy.
Of freedom.
And the thing is, but if America did not gain independence, but imagine America being on the British rule. But fam, the UK
eventually they would have got strong and went independent.
Well, America,
so it's always. I feel like it's always a matter of time.
It's not necessarily that way, though. Sometimes a country, could possibly be happy with being on the British rule. So. But without independence, man, imagine, life for Americans would have been so different today, bro. It would have been completely different.
And the colonists were free to go about building their free and independent country. We know that the story of the United States from here is not quite the legendary march of progress towards freedom and liberty. The shortcomings of the Founding Fathers and the damages done by subsequent U.S. governments are well known. Nevertheless, from a weak confederation of 13 colonies in the 18th century, in less than 200 years, the U.S. had become the most powerful nation in the world. Some of the reasons for American success can be found in the rights enshrined in the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. The American victory was a kind of miracle, not only in the logistical nature of the ragtag bunch of farmers overcoming an imperial army, but also in the triumph of new ideas over entrenched monarchical systems. A new kind of politics.
These were farmers, Mike. Farmers that defeated the almighty Great Britain, bro. You know, it just shows you, you know, courage is very important. You know, forget the military equipment, the military power, man. If you have a bunch of courageous, brave people, man, you can achieve miracle.
Anything, yeah.
Anything is possible when you have that mindset, you know?
A new kind of politics and new ways of thinking have been born in history's greatest experiment, the United States. To learn more about the American Revolution, then check out our book, The American Revolution, a captivating guide to the American Revolutionary War and the United States of America's struggle for independence from Great Britain. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. Also, grab your free Mythology Bundle ebook for free while still available. All links are in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.
Very informational video, man.
Is that it?
Yeah.
These are cool pics. But yeah, you know, that was a quick summary. I believe that was a summary of the American Revolution. I'm sure, you know, there was a lot more than this video
Yeah,
showed
very
us,
short.
but it's just a quick summary and it just, you know, give us a rough idea of what the American Revolution was about. But yeah, Mike, what's your takeaway from the vid?
Oh, it's very interesting. I like that surprise attack they did on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
I love that the country came together and realized we're not paying these taxes no more.
yeah,
We can't do this. They're in our country. We are strong enough to fight it off. And I also learned that France were involved in the revolution. I didn't know that.
yeah.
So
Me
that
too.
was great news.
Me too. You know, but yeah, you know, for me the takeaway here is, you know, when you have a bunch of brave men, you know, you don't have to be very, very powerful, bro. All it is a bunch of courageous men that are willing to fight for their freedom. When you have that,
Fight for their country.
fight for their country, fight for their freedom. You know, when you have, you know, a bunch of men that have that mindset, you're halfway there. Regardless if the opposition is far more superior than you are. You know, and also, you know, just imagine if these brave men did not fight for their country, bro. America could have potentially been on the British rule. You know, which is crazy. You know, so yeah,
Also, it wasn't just war. It was loads of small battles
Yeah,
that led to the big accomplishment,
yeah.
which was independence.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, guys. If you guys like the reaction, make sure to smash this like button. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.